Con. We on? Okay, cool. All right, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Machakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and those a great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Okay, we're GMS Dallas brothers. Okay, Elder Yatazak is here, and I'm the brother Amna from GMS Dallas. And what we're going to do is continue on the series that we've been doing, and First Samuel, and we finished First Samuel, so now we're doing Second Samuel. And the last lesson that we did was based off of chapter 2, and pretty much when you read about chapter 2, it goes into how there was the anointing or the public recognition of David, being king over Judah, right after Saul's death. And what happened is, the rivalry between the captain of David's host, which was Joab, and the rivalry of the captain of Saul's host, which was Abner, pretty much climaxed into a skirmish, a conflict that, ended up having a few hundred of Saul's men or a few hundred of Abner's men killed, and only a handful of David's men killed. Okay, which kind of resembling was what we're going to go into in chapter 3. Okay, and so keep in mind that during the time of Saul's death, up until what we're reading right now, was 7 years. Okay, it was 7 years that's transpired, and what we're going to do is continue reading on in chapter 3. Again, we left off in chapter 2. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and start 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "Now there was long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, but David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker."
Now
And
keep in mind that this is another situation where Israel was fighting against Israel, just like now. There's nothing new under the sun. It's a time for peace. It's a time for war. And right now, spiritually, the house of Saul and the house of David is at war with each other, and it's to fulfill the will of the Heavenly Father pursuant to Romans chapter 11. You got it.
Con, yep. And it says, verse 2, "And unto David were sons born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Ammon." Now, actually, before I go into this, to back up your point, Zaquan, I want to get this scripture in Amos, because it talks about the restoration of Israel. And we went into the book of Amos too. But just to back up your point, this is Amos chapter 9, verse 11. It says, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old." So currently we're seeing the tabernacle of David, okay, being built up, the house of David being built up with the elect, okay, because David had those who were loyal to him, okay, and then there were those who were loyal to Saul, but there were those who were loyal to David that genuinely wanted to serve Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and those are the ones that in these days are being risen up, okay, and serving the Lord in these times, okay, because ultimately, we know that the southern kingdom was, taken off of the throne and we were removed, but now what we're seeing is spiritually the Lord is building that house back up, okay. So continuing on in verse 2, it says, "And unto David were sons born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Ammon of Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and his second Chileab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite." And I guess we can get some of these definitions of these names here.
Right, because I was gonna say, when it mentions how when David, as David was conquering, he was adding wives. He was adding wives to his harems. You know what I'm saying? So some of those wives may have been heathen wives. You know what I'm saying? Because he was making deals with the neighboring with the neighboring nations,
Mhm.
in order to expand his rulership, you know. So
Yep.
let's confirm it. Let's
Mhm.
confirm it. But you got Israelites out there that think that only a Israelite woman, only a black woman, they won't even say Israelite, only a black woman can birth an Israelite child when according to the scriptures it says that the progenitor is the father.
Mhm.
It's all about the seed. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? A woman can't have a baby without a man seed. That's why you got sperm banks.
Right.
They don't got ovary banks. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, let's just be real. Go
Yep.
ahead.
Con. So Amnon is Strong's H55. Uh, Amon one, Amon one, and basically it's like Aman, is like faith or belief, right? Um, and so this is kind of like I would say like the plural version of it, which would be faithful. Um, and this is the first son of of David, firstborn son of David, which we read when you keep reading, he turned out to be you know, pretty much a scumbag. Said just to be honest. But and that shows you, man, like well, we've said it a few times, the son, just because you have a son doesn't mean that he's gonna be, you know, uh a righteous, prophet, a great man in Israel. If you yourself have a son and you're a prophet, that doesn't mean that your son is going to follow in your stead. Look at the sons of Eli, look at Absalom, David's son. He rebelled against him, right? Look at Rehoboam, the son of Solomon.
Look at Adam and Solomon rebelling against the Most High.
Mhm. Yep.
You know, they rebelled.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Both of them messed off a kingdom.
Yep.
You know, so that falls in that category too.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep. Yep. So let me see here. Son of oh right, I'm gonna reverse two again. Unto David were sons born in Hebron, which we know Hebron was a city that David was ruling in first, for those first 7 years. It says, and his firstborn was Amnon, the son of Ahinoam, the Jezreelite. So this is one of David's women that he, had a baby with, right? And then it says the second son he had was Chileab. Okay. Now you see how it names the sons. It doesn't name the daughters in this deal here. It just names the sons, right? He had daughters too, but it just names the sons right here. It
why?
says,
Why? Because the sons carry on the legacy. You see,
mm-hmm,
a woman is always going to be under her father's name or her husband's name.
mm-hmm,
There's always, I would say, I would say she holds her father's legacy until she holds her husband's. And ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? To be able to have a daughter to give to a man of the Lord, man, that's a gift for both sides.
mm,
You know, I would
Con.
say this notion. I would say I know that the curses is on, but that's what I'm saying. That was one of the biggest things Satan did was to turn Adam and Eve against each other and divide asunder what he put together. But here it is, everybody's divided. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you got it.
Con. Yep. So that second son named Kalaaba, okay, which is a compound word. Kala'a is like or as, right? When you have ka at the beginning of the word, it's like or as. And then Abba is father, right? So that's pretty much the breakdown of that name, like his father. Um, and then um, the third, it says, was Absalom, which we know about Absalom. We've read about Absalom. That's the rebellious son.
Mm-hmm.
He was known as the rebellious son of David. Let's go ahead and get his name meaning. Okay, Strong's H53, Abba Yah, Abba Yah Shalawam. Okay, Abba Yah Shalawam, which is we know Abba, which is father, and then Yah at the end of the word is my, right? So my father, and then Shalom is peace, right? So my father is peace, right? That's the breakdown. Okay. And so yeah, he was a rebellious son, but we'll get into that as we continue on in the book. And then he had a couple more sons. Okay, Absalom was the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, the king of Geshur. Okay, and did you want me to look into this? Let me see who Maacah was, if she was who her father was. Maacah or Ma'ika. Let's see here. The daughter of the king of Talmai of Geshur. Okay, so let's see who the king of Talmai of Geshur was real quick. Daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. Okay, Thalumya. Okay, son of Amihud, king of Geshur, later king of Geshur himself, the father. So I don't know if it was if he was mentioned before this. So I'd have to do some more deep diving and seeing. He wasn't mentioned before this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're heathens. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're heathens.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of rulership, is to make those unions with other nations. You know what I'm saying? For everything to run smooth, which is what Solomon excelled at. You see. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. All Solomon's wives were not Israelites, but all his children were.
Right.
All David's wives are not Israelites. All his children were. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Jacob. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't Israelites then. You know what I'm saying? But you know, he had four wives, but all those children were Israelites.
Yep.
Jacobites, so to speak.
Yep.
So you can understand. You got it.
That's right. Yep. So it says the fourth is Adonijah, which I'm pretty sure I can break that down just by looking at it. Adunya Yahweh, you know, which would be my Lord is Yahweh, right? The son of Haggith, and the fifth Shephatiah, the son of Abital. Now let's look up, and these are all different women. You know what I'm saying? Right. But then when you bring this up, the woman, they'll say, "Oh, you're not King David. You're not him. You're not him." Well, King David wasn't the only one with multiple wives.
The prophecy say we'll be like David. You know what I'm saying? So right now it's just not expedient to do all that, because right now, if you got 5 wives, you got 5 women that ain't with you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Murmuring behind your back and talking shit, probably spitting in your food.
Man. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The mindset ain't there for us or them to pull it off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you're in captivity. And I know in captivity when we was in Egypt, you know, it said that we continued to multiply.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. You're still in captivity. So, you know, you got to just be smart about it.
Yep.
Let's say, right now ain't the time. Right now ain't the time to have 4 women on their period under the same roof.
And David had more than one. He had more than one bedroom apartment, man.
Yeah, that's for a man with substance, man. You can't be. Yeah, I will say, I'll guarantee you, if you're in a warehouse with multiple wives, that shit is uncomfortable at times.
Absolutely. So this last son here, Strong's age 8203, Shapatiah, which we know Shapat is judgment, right? To judge, to plead, and then Yah is abbreviated way to say Yahweh. All right, so you could say Yahweh has judged, you know, or Yahweh is my judge, right? So so those are the sons of David, right? And there might be, there was one more. The sixth was Ithram by Elga, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron. We'll just go ahead and get that one for the sake of finishing that out. Strong's age 3507. Yathariam. Okay. It says a compound word. Okay, yathar, which is to rest, and then I'm is people. Okay. So also yathar can be remnant, residue, excellency, right? And then I'm is people, a nation. So prophet of the people. Okay, so I'm gonna say that again. Yathar, I'm. Yathar, I'm. Okay, it's a compound word. All right, so those are the sons of David. And continuing on in verse 6, it says, and it came to pass while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul. So he was holding it down. Because remember, Abner, even though Saul was dead, he still made Ishbosheth, which was Saul's son, the king, over Israel for that time period, right? And so it says in verse 7, and Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, and Ishbosheth said unto Abner, wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine? Right? So, Saul was dead, and he had otherwise, like, he may have had some badass, concubines, what I'm saying, that was just there, like, damn, okay. And Abner, he went into one of them. He was dealing with one of them, what I'm saying, because Saul was dead. And and Ishbosheth was like, yo, hey, bro, like, why you dealing with my dad's concubine, man? Ishbosheth tried to charge him up. Now, before I read, well, you know what? I'm gonna read it in the King James, but then I'm gonna go back and read it in NLT because it's a little bit easier to understand his response. Okay, verse 8, it says, then was Abner very wroth for the words of Ishbosheth, and said, am I a dog's head, which against Judah do show kindness this day unto the house of Saul thy father, to his brethren and to his friends that have not delivered thee into the hand of David, that thou chargest me today with a fault concerning this woman? Right. So basically, in layman's terms, he was like, yo, man, I'm taking care of you. I'm preserving your life from David, and you charging me up about this chick, like, and I'm gonna read it in the NLT. I don't know why it's here we go. I'm reading the NLT, so it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay. 2 Samuel chapter 3 and 8. And Abner was furious. Am I some Judean dog to be kicked around like this? He shouted. After all I have done for your father Saul and his family and friends by not handing you over to David, is this my reward that you find?
Handing you over to David.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Handing you over to David. Is this my reward that you find fault with me about this woman? It says, verse 9, may the Most High strike me and even kill me if I don't do everything I can to help David get what the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai has promised him. I'm going to take Saul's kingdom and give it to David. I will establish the throne of David over Israel as well as Judah, all the way from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south.
Man.
You see, so I got a precept to that. But if you want to speak on that, Zaquan, Baba Kushah, feel free.
Yeah, that's plain. That's plain. But that just goes to show you. That just goes to show you that the Lord has the angels controlling the minds of men. He went from hardcore. He went from hardcore, the house of Saul, to being disrespected. You know what I'm saying? To the point to where that's what changed the tide. Because the civil war between Israel lasted for a couple years. You know what I'm saying? And that was a huge turning point.
Yep.
And it's always a woman involved.
That's what I was thinking about too. I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking about that when I was reading over it earlier. I was like, man, basically, when we read up, when we continue reading, basically he he got himself jacked up over a woman, man. You know, I'm gonna get the scripture here in Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. It says, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And basically Ishbosheth, he didn't really have a leg to stand on, man. The main guy that was protecting him, if you will, the main guy that was holding him down, which was Abner. Okay, which Abner was Saul's cousin, right? Abner was basically looking over. He was looking after his cousin's son, Ishbosheth. You see, and so when Ishbosheth was asking him like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, why are you dealing with my father's concubines?" That was just the straw that broke the camel's back, for Abner. He's like, "Man, what the hell am I over here protecting this guy for when he ain't even grateful?"
Right.
And the other scripture I want to
because technically, since Saul was dead, then it was cool.
if you want to be technical, that might strike a few nerves, but it's true. You know what I'm saying? It's true, and she was just a concubine anyway, But anyway, next scripture I wanted to get was Proverbs. Actually, it's in the next chapter. Okay. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 9. It says, and this is pertaining to basically how Abner's mind was turned towards helping David. It said, when a man's ways please the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Right. So, pretty much what we're going to see is Abner now, instead of, being against the house of David, now he's going to want to join, the two houses together. Right.
Which is the Lord's will to have Israel all together anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it had to be war first.
Con. Yep, that's right. So we read verses 9 and 10 in the NLT. So we're going to continue on in the KJV in verse 11, 2 Samuel 3 and 11. It says, and he could not answer Abner a word again because he feared him. So he didn't want to say nothing else. He's like, man, damn, I already done jacked myself up. Let me just shut my mouth. Right. And verse 12.
Quit while you behind.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, he's like, damn. Well, you know what I'm saying? He's like, man, this nigga might just kill me on the spot. Let me just shut up real quick. Verse 12, it says, and Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, whose is the land? Saying also, make thy league with me, and behold, my hand shall be with thee to bring about all Israel unto thee. So Abner was like, look, hey, David, we've been, at odds long enough. You know what I'm saying? It's obvious the people, they want to deal with you. So look, just make a league with me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna bring those that are loyal to me, the rest of Israel. I'm gonna bring them to you. And in verse 13 it says, this is David's response, and he said, well, I will make a league with thee, but one thing I require of thee, that is, thou shalt not see my face, except thou first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when thou comest to see my face. So he was referring to Saul's daughter, that the first wife, if you will, that David had, was Michal, Saul's daughter. And this whole time while David was fleeing from Saul, remember, when David first fled, he was in the house with Michal, and she pretty much lied to the guards or whatever, to the servants of Saul for David, saying, look, David, he got away. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want him to leave, but he said, look, let me go or I'm gonna kill you. But really, she helped him. You know what I mean? She helped him escape by saying that he was sick and all this other stuff.
That's the one he brought all those foreskins back for, right?
Yeah, it goes into that, the next verse.
Okay.
Yep. Verse 14. It says, and David sent messengers
Yeah,
to Ishbosheth.
yeah.
Yeah. And David sent messengers to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, saying, "Deliver me my wife Michal, which I espoused to me for 100 foreskins of the Philistines." Right. Um, and David, he put in work for her. He was like, hell yeah, shit. And Michal loved David back when they first, back when David was a young man still. I mean, he was still young here, but back when he was very young, that was his first wife.
Right.
It says, verse 15, and Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband. Right, because basically, Saul had allowed for Michal to marry somebody. She gave Michal over to somebody else, which really he shouldn't have did that, because David was still alive, and he never divorced her. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it says and her, I'm sorry, let me read verse 15 again. And Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband, even from Phaltiel, the son of Laish. Okay, this is the man that basically had married Michal after David. It said in verse 16, and her husband went with her along, weeping behind her to Baharim. So as basically as Michal was being brought, transported to Hebron, her husband at the time, her second husband, if you will, he was he didn't want to let her go, man.
See what his name means.
Yeah. I'm gonna see Phaltiel. Yeah, because probably going on the back of his mind, oh, David, Saul probably gonna kill him. This is back when Saul was alive. The stuff that was probably going on in his mind was, oh, okay, well, this was David's wife, but he fled. He's a traitor. He's a whatever. Saul probably gonna find him and kill him anyway. So I'm gonna take her. I'm gonna scoop her up. That's probably what he was thinking. But this is his name, Strong's H6409. Another compound word, Palat Ya'ala. Okay. And Palat is let's see what this word means. Deliverance. Okay. Deliverance. Okay. And then Yah at the end of the word is my, and then Allah is power. So my power delivers. Or I'm sorry, my deliverer is God. I'll say it like that, because Palat is deliver. My deliverer or my deliverance is God, or the Most High. He says here the Most High delivers, but more accurately would be my deliverance is God, or the Most High. So let me see. Let's go back here. Here we go. It says the son of Laish of Galim, to whom Saul gave Michal in marriage after his mad jealousy had driven David forth as an outlaw. So, Saul pretty much kind of gave Paltiel, his he kind of gave him his daughter, because he was jealous, of David, and he drove him out. So,
right, because it tell you in the commentary that Saul's plan was to give Michal to David so that she could spy on and snoop on him for him. You know what I'm saying? But she ended up being in love with David and siding with her husband. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So she was given to a whole nother husband out of spite, which is adultery. You know what I'm saying? Her father caused her to commit adultery.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Which she didn't have no options. She didn't have no choice in the matter. You know what I'm saying? But she was delivered from that adulterous situation by David calling to give her back once he got in the rulership.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So his name actually ended up being a nomen omen that worked out for her. You know what I'm saying? She was delivered from him.
Yep. That's your pa. Where we at? Verse 16. Okay.
That was one thing about David. If his wife, he was gonna go back and get his wife.
Yeah. This is
He was gonna go back and get his wife.
Man, for real. He loved, yeah,
He ain't
yeah.
really
I
mess with
mean,
David's
that's
possessions.
for real. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, verse 8. That's how the most. That's how we hope the Most High gonna come and get us. Like sitting here waiting, damsel in distress. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. You know, and we're waiting for Yahweh Shem Shai to deliver us, man.
That's right.
From this hellish situation. Verse 16, and her husband went along with her, along weeping behind her to Baharim. Then, yeah, that shit must have been embarrassing, man. It's like,
I just want my baby.
you know she was bad. You know what I'm saying?
If he was really a man about it, he would have been like, nah, man, she already married, man. You know what I'm saying? He an Israelite. He knew the law.
Yeah, that's true. He shouldn't have, you know, he shouldn't have took that deal. You know?
Yeah. He could have respected. I mean, I know it was the king, but he could have respectfully declined because hey, the Lord is the king, and that's out of pocket, man.
Yep.
Yeah, Saul was going off like a mother. He put him in a bad spot.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be put to death.
Yeah. He lucky he didn't get put to death.
You know?
Yep. You know what I'm saying? It says, then said Abner unto him, go return. And he returned. So Abner had to tell his ass, like, look, Brian, just go home, man. It's too late. You had your time.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. In verse 17, it says, and Abner had communication with the elders of Israel, saying, you sought for David in times past to be king over you. Now then do it. For Yahweh Bashem Shai hath spoken of David, saying, by the hand of my servant David, I will save my people Israel out of the hand of the Philistines and out of the hand of all their enemies.
I was saying that prophecy was being fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? This is prophecy being fulfilled. Y'all wanted David as the king. Here you go. You know, right. But I'll say this. I said, y'all wanted Saul to be your king, but this time when you wanted David, the Lord blessed it. You know, he gave y'all what y'all wanted because y'all was being carnal when he gave you Saul, but David is a man after the Most High's heart. And he's the one that fulfilled that prophecy. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. It says, verse 18. Oh, excuse me, verse 19. And Abner also spake in the ears of Benjamin. And Abner went also to speak in the ears of David in Hebron, all that seemed good to Israel, and that seemed good to the whole house of Benjamin, because Israel was, you know, loyal to Saul still, but the most loyal ones to Saul was that, you know, were the Benjamites.
I'll be right back, bro.
And so, you know, Abner really had to, you know what I'm saying, like speak to Benjamin separately, like, you know, like, hey, look, listen, you know, this is how we're gonna move forward. This is what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? King Saul is dead. And, you know, basically Abner was the person that everybody looked up to as far as the decision making for you know, for the house of Saul. All right. So they pretty much went with what Abner said. So verse 20, so Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him. Okay, so Abner and 20 men went to Hebron, to, you know, to the city of David, or at that time I'll say the city that David was reigning in. It says, and David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast. So again, like we read in Proverbs, you know, like we read in Proverbs 16:7, man, you know, you really you know, want to make your enemies to be at peace with you, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't really want to have enemies of your own people. Now it's still going to happen, but it's better to, you know, to make peace. You know what I'm saying? Oh, matter of fact, get that scripture in Matthew chapter 5, man. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 9. It says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of the Most High. You see, David, you know, he wasn't a man that loved, you know, seeing his people, you know, get put to death, and, you know, seeing all this division going on within the house of Israel. He never intended for that to happen. You see, he was pretty much in the middle of it, and he was just making sure that he was, covering his own self, man, making sure that he, didn't have blood on his hands. You see, and so he made them a feast. It says in verse 21, and Abner said unto David, I will arise and go, and will gather all Israel unto my lord the king, that they may make a league with thee, and that thou mayest reign over all that thine heart desireth. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. Now that's pretty much the best case scenario. Whereas, if David was carnal, he would be trying to seek out, basically the kingdom on his own terms, and trying to put Abner to death and kill Ishbosheth, and then it wouldn't have been the same result. You see, but because
it wouldn't have been prophecy,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
David was, I would say, David was all about he was fulfilling the prophecy. Everything that the Lord wanted is what David was doing. It wasn't about him. You see, that's one thing you got to keep in mind. With Saul, it was about Saul, his emotions, his feelings, his lack of patience, his lack of faith. David is the complete opposite of all those things.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Go ahead.
Con. It says in verse 22, and behold, the servants of David and Joab came from pursuing a troop, and brought in a great spoil with them, which shows you that, Joab, he was always out, making raids and, jacking up this heathen village over here. He was kind of, expanding that territory, right? It says, but Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he was gone in peace. When Joab and all the hosts that was with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner, the son of Ner, came to the king, and he had sent him away, and he is gone in peace. So, when Joab heard of the news that Abner, remember, Abner was the same man that killed Joab's brother Asahel, right? In the chapter 2, when you go back and read chapter 2. So that vengeance, was, that vengeance was still, in Joab's mind of getting his lick back,
It was still fresh.
Yeah. And so verse 24 says, then Joab came to the king. And this is when you see how carnal, Joab wasn't spiritual. He didn't rank high in the spiritual category. Okay. He was just, basically a skilled individual at war that was loyal to David. Right. But when it came to spirituality, making spiritual decisions, that wasn't Joab's strength. It says, then Joab came to the king and said, what hast thou done? Behold, Abner came unto thee. Why is it that thou hast sent him away? And he is quite gone. Thou knowest Abner, the son of Ner, that he came to deceive thee, and to know thy going out and thy coming in, and to know all that thou doest. And so, which remember, Joab was, again, loyal to David. That was David's nephew, you know what I'm saying? So he was loyal to King David. So he wanted to make sure that he preserved King David at all costs. And, he didn't think that it was a good idea that David sent Abner away in peace, and so as you can see right here, this is what happens next, right? 2 Samuel 3:26. And when Joab was come out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, which brought him again from the well of Sirah, but David knew it not. So basically what happened was, Abner was on his way back, right, to the land of Benjamin, and Joab, he sent messengers to catch up to Abner and tell Abner, hey, come back to come back to Hebron, you know what I'm saying? So it says in verse 27, and when Abner was returned to Hebron, because Abner thinking that, hey, look, I just made peace, everything good. Okay, cool. And then, I'm gonna go back to Hebron real quick. It says, verse 27, and when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly, and smote him under the 5th rib, that he died for the blood of Asahel, his brother. You see? So basically, Joab ignored, the scripture that talks about vengeance is the Most High's, and, not to avenge your own self. Okay. And he went and killed Abner and he killed Abner sneakily, like he deceived Abner.
He hit him with the let me holler at you. He killed him Esau style. You know what I'm saying? If he really wanted to get his get back in the righteous way, if he really wanted to get his lick back in the righteous way, he could have. You know what I'm saying? That was straight up murder.
Yeah.
I mean, you sat up there and watched David make a pact with this man.
Yep.
So your emotions no longer matter. So if you could have easily done that a righteous way, instead of murdering the man in cold blood, and that's what I'm saying, and he had to pay for that.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And keep in mind, David, he did this behind David's back. So he was like, look, I'm off this dude, which is a nigga mentality, man. Okay. Verse 28, it says, and afterward,
letting you know that it's niggas in the house of David too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They everywhere. It's just that much more. It's just that knowing that it's that much more spiritually keeping your head on a swivel. You got to watch out for your own people too. In Romans 11, the Lord, King David said, let these niggas' table be made a snare, man. To hell with these niggas, Lord.
Man.
Go ahead.
It says 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 28. And afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Lord forever from the blood of Abner, the son of Ner. And basically, when you fast forward and you read, 1 Kings, I believe the first chapter or the second chapter, some of David's last words to Solomon were to tell Solomon, hey, look, I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't gonna put Joab to death for what he did, but make sure that blood that Joab shed returns upon his own head for what he did to Abner. You see, because he didn't let the Lord he didn't let the will of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai play out. He went and just killed him for no reason, not for no reason, but for his own, on his own understanding. What the scriptures say, lean not on your own understanding. See? So, verse 29, it says, verse 29, let it rest on the head of Joab and on all his father's house, and let there not fail from the house of Joab one that hath an issue, or one that is a leper, or one that leaneth on a staff, or one that falleth on the sword, or that lacketh bread. So a lot of these people, in Israel, some of them, I'll say, some of these people that you see that, they may, be leprous, or they may, have an issue in the flesh, or they, cripple, or it's suicidal, or, stricken with poverty. Some of them may be descendants of Joab, because basically David cursed he cursed the whole house of Joab, man. When Joab did this, you see. So continuing on, it says in verse 30, so Joab and Abishai, his father, slew Abner. Abishai, his brother. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. I'll read it again. 2 Samuel 3:20. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, slew Abner, because he had slain their brother Asahel at Gibeon in the battle. Okay. And verse 31, this is David's response. It says, and David said to Joab and all the people that were with him, rend your clothes and gird you with sackcloth and mourn before Abner. And King David himself followed the bier. So there was a funeral for Abner. He had a proper burial. He told Joab, hey, look, man, you made a huge mistake.
Yeah, man. Because that's when your brother got killed in war. Y'all were at war.
Mm-hmm.
David was clearly at peace with Abner when you killed him. And then you did it on some sneak stuff. It ain't like you challenged it to a duel and went mano a mano or something like that. No. You come here, man. Let me holler at you, man. And just cook. That old small prison shit.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yep. This was a little excerpt in the thing here. Let me get this actually in the cross reference. There's a little breakdown on this. I thought it was interesting. I'm gonna read this concerning verse 31. It says, David, intending no doubt to punish Joab and to lessen his authority with the people, talking about Joab, David wanted to lessen Joab's authority with the people. He commanded him to take upon him the office of chief mourner. So he was like, look, all right, the dude that you killed, you're going to mourn his death at his funeral, and you're going to be the chief. You're going to be the chief, person mourning the guy that you killed. It says, but as his revenge was gratified, his rival was removed and no heavier punishment inflicted, it is probable that his hardened mind would feel but little objection to the ceremony. So, Joab was like, all right, man, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And it says, let me see here. Verse 32, and they buried Abner in Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept. So he did this publicly to let the people know, what I'm saying? Hey, look, I didn't want Abner to get put to death, right? And verse 33, it says, and the king lamented over Abner and said, died Abner as a fool dieth? Thy hands were not bound, nor thy feet put into fetters. As a man falleth before wicked men, so fellest thou. And all the people wept again over him. Right? So what this did was a unified Israel in a time where it could easily be thought or misunderstood that David wanted to divide Israel, that David wanted to basically usurp authority, with under his own or within his own power. But we see David mourning for Saul. We see David mourning for Abner, right? And we're going to read a little bit more. Verse 35, it says, and when all the people came to cause David to eat meat while it was yet day, David sware, saying, so do the Most High to me, and more also, if I taste bread or aught else till the sun be down. And again, this saying, it comes up a few times, multiple times in the scriptures. What it means is basically, let the Most High judge me, or even kill me if blank, blank, blank. Right. So in this case, David was saying, look, let the Most High judge me or even kill me if I even taste any type of food, any type of bread until the sun go down, because he wanted it to be known, all right, that it was not of his intention, okay, to kill Abner or the king or Saul, Well, Saul, he died in the battle, but he wasn't happy that Saul died. He wasn't happy that Abner had been put to death, right? And verse 36, it says, and all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as whatsoever the king did pleased all the people. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not of the king to slay Abner, the son of Ner. And the king said unto his servants, know ye not that there is a prince and a great man fallen this day in Israel? And I am this day weak. though anointed king, and these men, the sons of Zeruiah, be too hard for me. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai shall reward the doer of evil according to his wickedness. Okay, and nobody's exempt from that, man. You know, like David, he showed extreme humility. He showed that he didn't want no blood on his hands when it comes to unrighteous dealings, man. Because the scriptures say the kingdom is translated from one to another because of what? Unrighteous dealings and riches gotten by deceit. You see?
Yep. And Lord, I also, this is another time where the Lord proved that, look, if you obedient to me, then I'll take care of everything else. The same deal he made with Solomon. You know, I'll give you the necks of your enemies. I'll give you all the women. I'll give you all these things. Just be obedient. You know, and David exuded that. You know, everything that was more wives, more land, more territory, more austere rulership. All those things were given because David was obedient. All those things were taken from Saul because he was disobedient.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna keep on harping on the difference between the house of Saul versus the house of David. Why one was successful and why versus why the other one wasn't.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, all Israel are going through these things together. Whether you the house of the David or the house of Saul, you still an Israelite. So for the sake of the gospel, we will put at war with each other. Israel was always fighting amongst Israel until Yahushua comes back. That curse will not be lifted.
Yep. I got a precept going into that last verse in chapter 3. This is Psalms, and this is a song of David. Psalms 62 and 12. All right. It says, also unto thee, O Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. Right. So again, man, this is the mindset that David had. And he knew, look, if I try to kill my enemies out of my own emotions, then I might get killed by my enemies. You see? And so this is the reason why we're going into these accounts, so we can know how to respond in real life situations that we're going to be finding ourselves in our own walk. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let me see here. Okay, we can probably breeze through this last chapter. It's only, I think, like 12 verses. Yeah. If you want, Zaquan, we can if you want to go into this, we can.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and knock it out.
Okay, cool. All right, this is 2 Samuel chapter 4, and we see the title here. Okay. It says in verse 1, and Saul's son heard that Abner was dead in Hebron. And when Saul's son heard that Abner was dead in Hebron, his hands were feeble, and all the Israelites were troubled. You know, so basically Abner didn't get the chance to go back and tell the good news, you know what I'm saying, to, the Israelites that he had jurisdiction over. So everybody looking at it as if like, damn, like Abner went to Hebron and got killed and David killed him. That's how they looked at it, that's how they looked at it, of course, until they got the news that David, wasn't consenting. But the immediate reaction was, damn, Abner's dead, and so, of course, Ishbosheth, he was fearful. It says, and Saul's son had two men that were captains of bands. The name of the one was Ba'anah, and the name of the other, Rechab, the sons of Ramon, a Berathite of the children of Benjamin, for Barath also was reckoned to Benjamin. So it's a tribe of or a family of Benjamin. Two sons came out of him, Banah and Rechab. Okay, and basically they were supposed to be men that were loyal to Ishbosheth, right? They were captains of Ishbosheth's bands. It says, and the Berathites fled to Gittaim and were sojourners there until this day. Okay. It says, and Jonathan, verse 4, and Jonathan, Saul's son. Now this kind of transitions into something else, but it'll make more sense as we continue on.
Now keep in mind, Samuel told Saul that he wouldn't be ruling no more, and that his house, and his rulership was going to be given to David. It was prophesied that Saul's line was going to be ended. You see, Jonathan's dead. Ishbosheth is murdered right here. You know what I'm saying? It was one more child after Jonathan, but he was crippled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where that line ended. It's right here.
Yep.
You see? You got it.
Yep, Con.
That was prophecy being fulfilled.
Yep. It says, verse 4, and Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son. So this is Saul's grandson or Jonathan's son. And his name was Mephibosheth. But it says, and Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son that was lame of his feet. And he was 5 years old when the tidings of Saul came, and when the tidings of Saul and Jonathan came out of Jezreel, and his nurse took him up and fled. So when you go back to 2 Samuel chapter 1, or I'll say 1 Samuel chapter 31, when Saul basically had died, Saul and Jonathan had died, little Mephibosheth, he was 5 years old when this had happened. And basically, there were several years that had passed when David was king in Hebron. So he was still pretty much like, an older child, a young man, by the time chapter 4 come around. But it's going back in time and telling you about this man, Mephibosheth, right? Or this boy Mephibosheth. It says, and his nurse took him up and fled, and it came to pass as she made haste to flee that he fell and became lame, and his name was Mephibosheth. Now, pretty much, his nurse was scared of, basically the Philistines, coming to, infiltrate the city that they were in. So she fled, and as she was running, or whatever the case was, I don't know if she was holding him or whatever, basically, fell, or she dropped him, and he injured his legs. Now let's get this the definition of his name, Mephibosheth. I think it's all at the bottom. Mephibosheth. All right, here we go. Strong's H 4648. Let me see here. Mapaya Bashath. Mapaya Bashath. And the root word here is two root words, pa'a, which is to scatter or to break in pieces or to shatter, to dash in pieces. And then Bashath is shame. Okay. So it says here exterminating the idol. I'm not really sure about that one, but basically, scattering, or I'm sorry, shattered in pieces, shame.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's heavy. Due to Saul's lack of faith, his house was shattered.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it says probably dispeller of shame,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The little cripple. That's what I'm saying. His lineage ended with this little crippled child, even though he was raised up by the Most High to be the king over all Israel.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So it's crazy how, not crazy, but it's interesting to see how quick the Lord can judge those that are close to us, not just us, our children, our family members, Okay, so continuing on in verse 5, it says, now this is going back to the main focus of this chapter, which is Ishbosheth. Salakia. It says, verse 5, the sons of Ramon, the Beerothite, and Rechab and Banah went and came about the heat of the day, which is typically the heat of the day is between noon to like 2 o'clock. So sometime in that time period, it says to the house of Ishbosheth, who lay on a bed at noon. So he was taking like a day nap or whatever. And it says in verse 6, and they came thither into the midst of the house, as though they would have fetched wheat, and smote him under the fifth rib, and Rechab and Banan his brother escaped. So basically, you had two, guys that were supposed to be loyal to they were supposed to be loyal to Ishbosheth, and they came and killed Ishbosheth in his sleep, in his own bed, in his own house. Something about that fifth rib. Everybody they just had a fifth rib demon on them at this time. They were just like, ugh.
Yeah, kill shot.
Yeah.
It's just like that's just like what was that the fight over the weekend, Tank Davis and the other boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He hit his ass up under the fifth rib. That liver shot. That's what your liver is behind the fifth rib. That boy went down like a sack of a sack of potatoes, man.
Yep.
Couldn't get back up. So if you get punched right there, you know what I'm saying, and it completely destroys you. Getting stabbed right there, you can hang it up.
Yeah, you out of there. You know what I'm saying? And so what happened was they escaped. And again, these are men that were supposed to be, loyal to Ishbosheth. You know what I'm saying? They were captains of a band of men. It could be 20, 100. They were captains of bands of men, and they conspired against Ishbosheth and killed him. Okay, it says, verse 7, for when they came into the house, he lay on his bed in his bedchamber, and they smote him and slew him and beheaded him and took his head and gat them away through the plain all night. So not only did they kill him, they did him Saul style. They were like, oh, look, we're going to cut his head off. And, basically show proof. Look, we killed Ishbosheth. Look what we did. Look what we did. Right. It says in verse 8, and they brought the head of Ishbosheth unto David to Hebron, and said to the king, behold, the head of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, thine enemy, which sought thy life, and the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai hath avenged my lord the king of this day of Saul and of his seed. So, matter of fact, Bakusha, would you mind speaking out, Zaquan? I gotta get some more water.
Yeah. I would say it says of Saul and his seed fulfilling their prophecy. Now, David, when David told Saul in that cave, he said, "Look, man, the Lord is gonna judge between us. At the end of the day, man, I don't want to do you no harm. I refuse. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're trying to kill me, I'm not going that route. You was chosen by the Heavenly Father. David kept his integrity regarding that situation. Even when Saul died, and the guy tried to take credit for it, he had him put to death. You see, David made it clear that it was never his intention to destroy the house of Saul. But when he said that the Lord was going to judge between him and he knew that the Lord was going to take care of it. You see, David knew in the spirit that the kingdom had been passed to him, that the crown had been passed to him. Everybody knew it. You see, and the fact that he knew it through the spirit was why he physically wouldn't put his hand to nobody in Saul's house. He also made a promise to Saul and Jonathan that he wouldn't do it, and he kept his word. Yep. He let the Lord deal with that situation wholeheartedly.
Yeah, which shows, like, they still ended up getting judged. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, it was men that took it into their own hands. You know what I'm saying? In the intent to, get carnal gain for themselves, which goes back to the scripture, 1 Timothy the 6th chapter. You know what I'm saying? The love of money is the root of all evil. Mm-hmm. Because they expected to, get some type of reward, you know what I'm saying, for killing, you know what I'm saying, which David didn't put a bounty. He didn't put a hit on Ishbosheth to say, hey, whichever one of you guys brings me the head of Ishbosheth first, to him will I give, 10 talents of silver. He didn't say that. They just went out and did it, presumptuously thinking that they were going to get some benefit from it.
Right.
And so this is David's response to those two men. It says in verse 9, and David answered Rechab and Benah his brother, the sons of Ramon the Beerothite, and said unto them, as the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua liveth, who hath redeemed my soul out of all adversity, when one told me, saying, behold, Saul is dead, thinking to have brought good tidings, I took hold of him and slew him in Ziklag, who thought that I would have given him a reward for his tidings. How much more when wicked men have slain a righteous person in his own house upon his bed? Shall I not therefore now require his blood of your hand and take you away from the earth? So David was like, man, how stupid could y'all have been to think that I was going to reward y'all for killing a man that didn't even, he wasn't even trying to seek my own life. When I put to death the dude that said that he, he even said that he put Saul to death. He wasn't actually the one who really did it, but he thought, I'm talking about the Amalekite in chapter 1. He thought that David was going to give him some type of reward. You know what I'm saying? And so, it says in verse 12, and David commanded his young men, and they slew them and cut off their hands and their feet and hanged them up over the pool in Hebron. But they took the head of Ishbosheth and buried it in the sepulcher of Abner in Hebron. So David was not playing, man. He it was just instance after instance where dudes were showing showing their hand that they were wicked. You know what I'm saying? David didn't ask these guys to he didn't ask Joab to put Abner to death. He didn't ask Rechab and Benah to put Ishbosheth to death. You see what I'm saying? But here it is, people presumptuously assuming, for their own motives. You know what I'm saying? Joab did it because to get vengeance. You know what I'm saying? These guys did it for a purse, but it shows that David didn't want none of this to happen.
It was all murder.
Yeah.
Which also shows that David is a judge.
Right. Right.
A king, a prophet, a judge, a warrior. He was all those things. All those things.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So that was the end of chapter 4. Chapter 4. Let me see if we have any precepts or anything on here. Let me move this. Let me see. 1 Kings chapter 2. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pretty much, brothers. Putting up good precepts here. So yeah, that was pretty much the end of that. Let me go back here and see if there's any cross references. Good ones here. Let me see. Hang them. Oh yeah, the law. According to the law, talking about hanging. We'll get this and we can close it out. Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 22. It says, and if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is a curse of the Most High. So the reason why
it's even a law hanging somebody, man. You see, Esau even broke that law. Leave you up for days. Let the birds pluck at you. He don't bury you. Yeah, all those different things, man. You see, he do everything the opposite.
Yep. It says that thy land be not defiled, which the Lord Yahweh thy power hath given thee for an inheritance. So it says he that is hanged is accursed. You know what I'm saying? That's like a punishment, like an open shame, showing, look, hey, we didn't just stone this guy. You know what I'm saying? No, we hanging them so that it could be a publicly made example. You know what I'm saying? Not to be like these guys. You know what I'm saying? And that shows you again that like you said, Zaquan, David was a judge. You know what I'm saying? And we coming back into those times where that swift judgment and those decisions are going to have to be made quick, and people are going to start getting judged that same day for their evil deeds. So that's all I had on that.
Con, I got nothing else.
Okay,
Hey,
Con.
with that, we want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the I can teach about the Ma'at. That's the sincerity and truth. Shalom.
Shalom.
More spirit, less flesh.
That's right. Rakah Ra'ah Basharma'ite.